Bankim Chandra once wrote that we should have our own kind of history that was in the colonial era. Then Akshay Kumar Maitreya, who wrote that Itihashik Chitrashala, and preface was written by Rabindranath and it was sent to Rabindranath. And then there was first official document to write the history of Bengal, Bangalar Itihash by Rakhaldas Banerjee. Why we should use the name Rakhaldas Banerjee? আমাদের রাখালদাস ব্যানার্জির নামটা কেন বলতে হবে? He was the first person who helped us to trace our history, I guess, 1,000 years back by excavating Mohenjo-daro. But he was given as a name of a thief, which literally discovered by Jama Pandey with all the documents that it was not. আমাদেরকে এই ইতিহাসটা নতুন করে বলতে হবে যে রাখালদাস বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় চোর ছিলেন না, ইট ওয়াজ আ কনস্পিরেসি বাই দ্য ব্রিটিশ। এবং আপনারা যদি দেখতে চান জামা পান্ডের রিসার্চ ওয়ার্ক আছে রাখালদাস ব্যানার্জির ওপরে, আপনারা দেখতে পারেন যে একটা মানুষ যে আর্কিওলজিতে ফর্মালি ট্রেন্ড নন, আজ প্রফেসর রাজাগোপাল চক্রবর্তী রয়েছেন, and he knows what it means by not having a formal training in archaeology and doing the work for the entire life and depicting the history of the nation. And we should celebrate that today. We should celebrate the works of Rakhaldas Banerjee, which we haven't till the date. Coming to the point of discussion, আমাদের বাংলার ইতিহাসটা অনেকটা বড় এবং আমাদের যে কমার্শিয়াল হেরিটেজ রয়েছে সেই কমার্শিয়াল হেরিটেজের ইতিহাসটা অনেকটা পিছনে। আপনি যদি আমি 3টে পয়েন্ট বলে আমি আই উইল আস্ক রিচা গৌতম টু টেক ওভার দ্য মাইক, দ্যাট আমাদের মসলিন মিশরের ব্যাবিলনে নেবুকাডনেজারের আমলে তার মন্দিরে পাওয়া গেছে। কিভাবে গেল? The person who was asking for maritime history should inquire that it was through the maritime channel that আমাদের মুসলিমটা মিশর অবধি গেছিল। বারাণসী অ্যান্ড আমাদের তাম্রলিপ্ত এগুলো যাতায়াত ছিল সেই অবধি। It was not allowed. খিজির খাঁ allowed it after 350 years এটাকে চাষ করার জন্যে, এবং পরবর্তীকালে আবার এই মসলিনটাকে বন্ধ করে দেওয়া হলো কারণ ইংল্যান্ডে এই মসলিনের প্রয়োজনটা ফুরিয়ে গেছিল বলে। সো ইট ওয়াজ আ কলোনিয়াল হ্যাং ওভার দ্যাট উই আর স্টিল হ্যাভিং দ্যাট। আরেকটি পয়েন্ট বলে আমি শেষ করব, আমাদের প্রথম ব্যাংকার কে ছিলেন জানেন? যার কাছ থেকে ব্রিটিশরা লক্ষ লক্ষ কোটি কোটি টাকা নিচ্ছেন, এক্স্যাক্টলি জগৎ শেঠ। তার আসল নাম ছিল নেমিচাঁদ। পরবর্তী ব্যাংকার সব থেকে বড় দ্বারকানাথ ঠাকুর, যার কাছ থেকেও ব্রিটিশরা তার রয়্যাল ব্যাংক থেকে লোন নিয়ে নিয়ে ব্রিটিশ সাম্রাজ্য চালিয়েছিলেন। বাট স্টিল আমাদের কাছে এই ব্যবসার আভিজাত্য যেটা ছিল, যে ইতিহাস ছিল, সেটা আজকে কেন নেই? অ্যান্ড দিস টপিক উইল বি ক্যারিড অ্যাওয়ে বাই প্রফেসর রাজাগোপাল চক্রবর্তী অ্যান্ড সুদীপ্ত দা। So I'll hand over the mic to Richa Gautam.
Thank you and namaste. I'm honored to be here at this intellectual discussion on the rich heritage of Bengal. I want to say that, I have just been educated so much and I have always admired Bengal. Bengal has been the cultural and intellectual capital of India for time immemorial. What Bengal thought at one point, India would think later. That was the statement made by Gokhale about Bengal. And it was true. But what about the economic conditions of Bengal? Can intellectual and cultural growth ever happen without economic growth? Absolutely not. So what was Bengal's contribution before the British came to India? India, as you know, was one of the richest, it was the richest country in the world, the golden bird as it was known, contributing to over 33% of the world's economy. And Bengal was 50% of that economy for the longest time. Bengal was, of course, a bigger geography at that time. Secondly, it was 12% of the world's economy. 12% of the world. So when I think of it, like California today is, the fifth largest GDP of the world. Similarly, Bengal at that point was a rich state, so much so that it could have been, it was a powerhouse among the top five in the world. As Debujit said, Jagat Seth was someone like Bill Gates. He was the richest man. He was known as his name was something else. Someone says Manik Chand, Nemi Chand, but he was such a rich man. He used to fund wars. He used to loan money. He even helped the British, unfortunately, come and fund their Battle of Plassey. After 1757, as we know, the British started their extraction economy, and that is what started to lead to the downfall of the Bengal economy. So, the most important thing to note is, what did the Bengalis do when they were attacked? The economics was attacked, their land was being taken away, they were taxed over 80%, their agricultural produce was being taken away. How did the Bengalis react? There were numerous peasant revolts. I think someone just mentioned the Chuar revolution, the Vidro, the Chuar Vidro. That carried on from around the time like 1757, 1760 to for about 75 years. So there was a generational, Rani Shiromani was one, but then there were a lot of people who kept leading that revolution, and the British kept crushing it. But that was not the only revolution. There was the Indigo Revolution, right? Because when they were forced to grow cash crops like indigo and not allowed to produce food, and manufactured famines used to make people go hungry, starve, and even die due to famines. Famines were manufactured in Bengal to crush the spirit of Bengal. And the groundswell of movement, for example, the salt farms of Orissa, which was at that time part of Bengal, when their lands were taken away, when they were made to be rent seekers, when British put the salt tax, there was again what Gandhiji is so well known for, his 1930 Dandi March. Some of the initial movements against the salt tax happened after 1882, happened in the Bengal of those days. So Bengal was known for the nationalists. Bengal was known for its radical, leaders, like those who were considered to, even in the Congress, like even Sri Aurobindo Bose was, Aurobindo Ghosh was part of it. Raj Bihari Bose was part of it. Bipin Chandra Pal and numerous others, whose names have been spoken about today, were part of this what was called the extremist wing, because they would definitely not give in to that moderate streak that the British were trying to cultivate in Congress. So actually, the epicenter of the movement against the British extraction economy was literally Bengal. And the Bengali was by the British declared as a non-martial race. Why? Not because they were not, martial, but because they would definitely not be a good fit for the British Army. So I want to sort of take us further to Herbert Hope Risley. He's the one who created the caste census, to control the kind of nationalist movement and fervor that was part of Bengal. One of the most important things that was done by the British was the caste census. We don't realize how impactful that was in destroying our country and Bengal. So when he conducted the census, first he studied the castes and tribes of Bengal, as he did in the 1800s, and then in 1901 he conducted the caste census. And based on that understanding of the demographics of Bengal, he was the one, as a Home Secretary of Lord Curzon, who partitioned Bengal after, against so much opposition. But what he said was, a Bengal united is a force to reckon with, but a Bengal divided will pull in various different ways. And that's exactly what happened. They appointed C.J. Fuller, who is a historian and anthropologist. He said, the caste census or the censuses conducted by the British did not have any discussion of the middle class of India or the economic conditions of people. Their main reason they conducted the census was to divide and rule. And because there were a larger number of Muslims down in towards the eastern Bengal. The zamindars or the management that was appointed were Hindus. So there was this whole big Hindu-Muslim rift that was created, and further, we see that partition was actually the genesis of the partition of India. So we don't give enough credit or discredit to Herbert Risley for the kind of divide and rule that he created in Bengal, and then that pilot project was then further projected onto the entire India, and we live that reality today, where the Chuar revolution or the other revolutions that happened around Bengal, those people are now, or the Malangas, the salt farmers, they were classified as tribes by the British, and we still follow some of that classification today. Some of the police forces were dismantled, of the olden times, and now, they are part of the scheduled caste or scheduled tribe lists. So the blame is instead put on the Bhadralok or the Indian upper caste or the Brahmins, right? So, but the fact is, the extraction economy, if you study the British extraction economy and how it impacted Bengal and how the partition created that whole divide and rule, what we see really is that, this whole process of caste and race discussion is not just a sociological experiment. It has deep impact on the economics of the country and on the identity politics that we still face today. And of course, as a last little tidbit, I do want to say there was a lot of discussion about the leftist movement, which took a stronghold here, and I'm sure my co-panelists are going to talk about it. Those topics were those who were considered extremists. Many of them were, pushed towards this ideology, as time went by, and as British crushed the opposition and the revolts that were happening within Bengal. So I want to rest my case here and pass over the mic.
And I will just add one point, that this caste system, the census, was prior done to that institution of Calcutta University, and students were allowed to read in the university as per their caste and economic situation. So that's how even the education system was regulated by that. Hand over to you, sir.
Thank you, dear Braj. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about Bengal's economic heritage and where we stand today. And I was in Hyderabad, and just attending this conference, I came to Calcutta, and I decided to talk to some people, kind of refer to some of the Bengal's heritage, economic heritage. And regrettably, none of the young people could tell me, what is heritage? What is economic? I say economic success story. Success story. Do you think that we have any economic success story? And our young people could not remember anything, because they say that nothing was taught in the school books, history books. But some of the older people, they could remember. I know that they have read in books, Maslin. They could refer to some of the successful Bengali entrepreneurs, like Sir Rajendra Mukherjee, right? Bengal Waterproof, and so many. Saint Raleigh, right? You all remember. So they're Popular Chandra Roy and many, right? But younger generations, they say that we have not read anything. Very regrettably, this is our history culture. Our historians have forgotten to recognize our own heritage and culture. Our students do not know who is Popular Chandra Roy. What was his contribution? right? He wrote Hindu chemistry, right? And he established, he is the first person to establish some of the industries here. We do not know that he was educated in the Western countries. Many people say that some of them are from the rich families. But there is Ala Mohan Das. Ala Mohan Das could not cross his school's education. He was from a very ordinary student from a Mahisha, not even a higher caste. Right? He used to sell jhalmuri in the railway stations. And you know that Das Nagar is named after Ala Mohan Das. He set up a large number of industries. Right? Yes, we had examples. Bengalis did that. And we are here to listen to so much of success, right? I was not familiar with when I heard when I was here. When I heard you, and I was very boastful of my land. But what happened to me? Why we are slowly moving away from the rest? You all remember the finance minister of the country saying that Bengal's contribution at the time of independence to India's GDP, 24%. You all remember that, right? He's not a Bengali fan. He was just stating the figure, raw figure that Bengal was so much important in the country. And you also have seen what he said. Bengal's contribution today is India's GDP, 3.6%. Right? Bengal has gone so much down. So, if you see the top three countries in 1960s, and I'm quoting you not Nirmala Sethuraman. Now I'm quoting Reserve Bank of India. Top three economically successful states of India. We have West Bengal. If you allow me to say some of the little figures which I am carrying with it. Right, okay. In 1960-61, in Bengal's growth rate, economic growth rate was 10.5%, which is significantly higher than India's growth rate. And Bengal's growth rate was a third of the least. And today, our growth rate is, as Nirmala Sethuraman say, 3.6%, much lower than the Indian standard. And if you see the per capita income, in 1960-61, Bengal was again third. Our per capita income was 127% of the national average. Today is only 86%, which means it is lower than the national average. We are living low. Right. It is true that we are successful in combating poverty. If you see the poverty figures in Bengal, you know that our success is better. Poverty below the poverty line in Bengal is lower than that of India. That is one thing where we are successful. And also, if you see the growth of per capita rural consumption, Bengal, that is still above the national average. Except these two areas, because of the last 12 years, the government is spending money for the rural people, essentially for the vote bank, but whatever, whether it is vote bank or anything, common people, poor people got the money. There is no doubt about that. But Bengal is lagging. Why? I thought that we should have an understanding of the problem we have. So you see that Bengal suffered much from the partition. Right, enormous amounts of resources are lost. We have lakhs of billions of refugees that came, and poor refugees came from East Pakistan and later on Bangladesh. Whereas there are a lot of rich migrants came from Pakistan to India. Western India, northern India did not suffer much from partition, but we suffered. Then again, if you see that industrial policy, when we announced our industrial policy in 1956, this industrial policy was not in favor of some of the developed states. West Bengal was considered as a developed state, and we had a licensing regime. And licensing regime essentially, supported the licensing in those regions which were considered to be underdeveloped. So Bengal was neglected. And we did not have a national level leader who could fight. Who could fight after Bidhan Chandra, who could fight for Bengal. Right. As a result, we could not get the due share from the Indian capital or the Indian federal government. Ladies and gentlemen, you see that you probably all hear about our liberalization. We liberalized. People all say that we liberalized in 1991 under Narasimha Rao. Everything was liberalized in the sense that no government control was there, right? You could establish your own industries. And who benefited from this liberalization? There are 5 states in southern India: Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu. They benefited enormously from liberalization, right? Whereas Bengal did not benefit anything, neither from the licensing regime, not from the liberalization. So nobody, it seems that it is pure that government, license regime means that government was not supportive to you. And when you have a liberalization, the capitalists were not supportive. They were not interested in investing in Bengal. They were not interested in investing in Bengal essentially because of the fact that they found the place not to be very fruitful or profitable for the investment. So Bengal suffered several times, and then we have a communist regime which only nurtured its vote bank, which means that it only nurtured to some extent its agricultural voters. And if you see that our agricultural growth rate, that was average, better than the Indian average. That was better than Indian average till the left from government. But from 2001 onwards, our performance on our industry and service sector went back. The government we supported or created in Bengal through the elections in 1977, we had a government which took no interest on the economic development of the state. And more regrettably, we have a government which were not interested in the growth of the economy since 2011-12. As a result, what happened? We have a stagnation, and we have a stagnation not only in the economy. Economic stagnation is reflected in the educational system. And if you go to the educational institutes, you'll understand that most of the brains of the society, they have moved away to other places. You know that I taught in Bengal University several years, and there was a time when I used to get nervous because I was afraid of the questions that might come. But today, there are no questions. Only question is that, sir, when will you finish the class? So you understand that kind of a regime that is being created here, where people want to get the certificate, they want to get their degrees without the knowledge. And this is in the full knowledge of the investors. Why they will come here? Why will they invest their money in a place where the people have neither any discipline, nor they have the knowledge, and neither they do have any dream to take the state further. So, ladies and gentlemen, that this morning, that you heard so much stories about our success. Yes, it boosted my, that I was so enthused by our success that I'm equally demoralized by the failures of today. So I hope that we develop we developed some thinking, some of the economic success that we have in this state. That we are able to create, we rewrite our histories about the success stories, and we force our government to realize that economic growth is more important. And that economic growth might be possible only that if they realize that future votes will not be possible with few doles only. Because if you have a doles, your dole receivers always expect more and more. So there is a limit to your dole politics. So unless you deliver economic growth, unless you give your, that job opportunities. You have seen in Bangladesh what happened. There is not much decent employment, which has resulted in a tremendous amount of agony among the youth, and they were misled by several forces. We really do not know what might happen here. Yes, we talk about our success. That makes us glorified, and at the same time, we have to be very careful, unless we take necessary precautions to ensure that our younger generation get jobs, and we are able to create hope for them. Past always may not be able to create hope for them. We have to see, that show them the real dreams, that there will be jobs for them, there will be growth for them. They do not have to move to other states as migrant labor. Then and only then we can create future hopes for the state. Thank you very much.
রায় সাহেব বিনোদ বিহারী সাধু, তার লেখা একটা বই আছে আমার ব্যবসা জীবন, এটি উনি উৎসর্গ করেছিলেন প্রফুল্লচন্দ্র রায়কে। সেই বইতে আজ থেকে বহু বছর আগে সেই বইতে উনি লিখছেন, ইংরাজ রাজত্বের প্রথমে ইংরাজ রাজত্ব পরিচালনা করিবার জন্য কতগুলি কেরানি তৈয়ারি করিবার প্রয়োজন হইয়াছিল। সামান্য লেখাপড়া শিখিয়া তখন ইংরাজ বণিকের অধীনে অল্প পরিশ্রমে মোটা মোটা চাকুরি পাওয়া যায়, এই লোভে বাঙালি জীবনপণ করিয়া ইংরাজি শিক্ষায় আত্মসমর্পণ করিয়াছিল। বাঙালির মস্তিষ্ক অতিশয় উর্বর, বুদ্ধি অতিশয় তীক্ষ্ণ ছিল বলিয়া ভারতীয় অন্যান্য জাতিদিগকে পশ্চাতে ফেলিয়া তাহারা ইংরাজি শিক্ষায় সমধিক অগ্রসর হইয়া উঠিয়া ইংরাজের কেরানিগিরি প্রায় একচেটিয়া করিয়া আত্মপ্রসাদ অনুভব করিতে লাগিল। ইহাই বাঙালির জাতীয় জীবনের পতনের মূল কারণ হইল। সুদীপ্তদা, এবার আপনার বক্তব্য শুনুন।
It's really difficult to say something after him. However, good evening. I think it's evening. Yeah. And namaskar to all of you. So, when we were in this Bengal's only Red University, so in day one we were basically called to science club for a brainwash, and we were told that this is Das capital is great and ... So to come out from that room, what I used to do, I used to tell them the story of East German and West German. What happened in East German and West German, same community, same time and same landscape, you can say. So today I'll compare our story with the story of our counterpart, that is East Bengal. What means, just to tell you what is our potential and where we could reach, and why we failed, and where's the way out, if possible, in next 15 minutes. I don't know whether it's possible or not. Once upon a time, Jinnah said that what's the use of Bengal without Kolkata? Once upon a time he said. And today, he didn't even take name of Dhaka that time. But today, GDP of Dhaka is 3.25 times of Calcutta. 3.25 times of Calcutta. And in last 10 years, more than 1 crore Hindu Bengalis left Bengal by after selling all his properties and everything. They are now established in either Delhi, Bombay, or maybe in California. Now, what went wrong with us? If you ask our friends and all, or common men, they will tell you 3 reasons. Number 1, discrimination by center. Number 2, left trade unionism. And thirdly, that freight equalization. But I'll analyze a little more on this subject today, as it's a basically eminent personalities who are here. So before 1971, before 1971, Bangladesh was basically East Pakistan, and they were under West Pakistan basically. They faced systematic discrimination, neglect from Pakistani government, including economic exploitation, cultural exploitation, and political marginalization that we know, and that's why ultimately it led to Bengal's people's demand for their independence, and they got their independence in 1971. Most of the Bengalis will tell you the story that center didn't do anything and they exploited us. But that story is more than 100% wrong. And let me substantiate my point. Who got first IIT? West Bengal. First Management Institute, West Bengal. ISI, they got huge, although it was before that, but ISI took part in Planning Commission and all these things. IIM, West Bengal. Central government spent money to improve our waterway, that is Hooghly River, and from that soil we got Salt Lake City. But it didn't work. Thereafter, what central government did, they developed Farakka barrage to divert the water, to give more water to Calcutta. And also central government invested for Haldia, Haldia port. We got Haldia city as well. Thereafter, we got Durgapur, Kalyani, and Siliguri. Everything is funded by central government only. But we say they discriminated us. Probably we are the only state that got so much investment only. We got 5 big multi-purpose water projects. Jaldhaga, Tista, Farakka, thereafter this Muyurakhi, Kongshavati, and DVC. For DVC, as it is partly under BR, central government won one central government company, DVC, because West Bengal Irrigation Department or Power Department cannot work in this Bihar. Thereafter, Metro Rail, first Metro Rail, Calcutta, 1972. Then in 2000, Delhi got Metro Rail. First pump storage project, that is in Purulia, not in Delhi, not in anywhere else. Next is from British, this one, British compensation, we got Raghunathpur, this one. But still, if you ask anyone, including our chief minister, no, we got deprived by central and all these things. But Bengali changed after that. Okay, I am telling people may not accept our discrimination story and all these things. So that time what happened? At least West Bengal government was allowing center to invest in West Bengal. Now what we are doing for last 20 years? We are not allowing central government, basically for the last 14 years, we are not allowing them to invest. Now you will ask me, what central gave in last 14 years? Number 2, Sagar Port, 2016. Tajpur Port, 2022. Ludhiana Dankuni Freight Corridor, Mumbai Kolkata Freight Corridor, Amritsar Kolkata Industrial Corridor, East Coast Industrial Corridor, Tista 99% of the fund was returned, Ayla 75% of the fund returned. Thereafter, Morgram Holdia Expressway by ADB, 100% of the fund was returned. NH 34, Varanasi Ulberia Expressway, no land and some. There is a big list. 4 smart cities. Jadavpur was given the status of this one, Institute of Eminence, or before that IIT. Jadavpur University didn't take it. I know this is my university because university professors know if non-Bengali people will comes, then they cannot speak in English. That's why most of the teachers I know, who were they? I know some goons who were the SFI goons who were with our college. They are now the professors. They are coming to take television channel. I can name them even, but today I am not taking the name of those guys. I'm telling absolutely incompetent second-class students. They are now they are appointed as a professor in Jadavpur University. One of them broke this posta bridge. I know him. However, thereafter, what happened then? Why we failed? First 30 years. First 30 years means, can you recall that movie Harmonium? In Harmonium, Tapan Sinha has shown how Bengali community fell. Harmonium, it was with this one, one zamindar, then it came to a middle class family, then it came to Solagachi, and from that it came to that another absolutely lower middle class. When that Jomidar daughter, she became the servant or something. You can recall, I think, that movie, that Tapan Sinha movie. He was the only man who identified the disease of that was given by Satyajit Ray, Minal Sen, and Ritik Ghatak and this ecosystem. Now, what exactly happened to us? Due to FERA, license raj, quota naraj, and absolutely unplanned nationalization, Alammohn Das is one of the victims for the nationalization. All MNC companies left Bengal and they handed over their corporation to some local licensed nationalized nationalized owner means businessman. So thereafter, what happened? Essential Commodity Act. Firstly, they left this this local businessman. They had to quit business because it was very easy to deal with the MNC people than the local businessman. Number two, Essential Commodity Act. It forced our local rice mill owners and all who are basically doing their business from villages to quit their business because it empowered our our babus and netas like anything. Thereafter, Green Revolution, it happened in Punjab, Haryana and all these states, not in Bengal. So what our government did, they chose for land and all this policy, land reform and all. And that also gave us a new problem, that is this change of democracy. So many Bangladeshis came here and they got their land. However, I will not elaborate, these points. In 75, we got emergency, both Bangladesh and in India. It failed, but still for next 1.5 decades, USSR control our policy making. But now I will come to Bangladesh once again and the success about the Bangladesh, how they came up in next 30 years. It's really excellent journey by Bangladesh. What happened? Bangladesh, they firstly, what Bangladesh did, Bangladesh took one policy, that is infrastructure development. Number two, they ensured absolutely that technology transfer. And number three, enforcement of contract was inbuilt in their society, which is absolutely absent in our society. And that's why they got the success. And today, their garment industry is basically garment industry for the world. And on the contrary, we failed in this time. Narasimha Rao opened our economy in 1991, as he said. All the big companies came to India like Microsoft, IBM, Intel, Cisco, Sun, Yahoo and all these and big telecom companies, they started investing. But they never opened a single corporation in West Bengal as we declared some alternative economic policy and no one came to West Bengal. Even some tech companies came here like TCS and all, but they basically opened their service centers here, service companies, service type of IT companies, not product companies. Now, in product companies, salary is much more than the service company. For example, this Intel, Cisco and all, their salary is around 3 times of this TCS, Infosys and all this company. So what happened? Even our IT people, they are also basically poorer than Hyderabad, Bangalore and all this area. Now, what happened thereafter? As he asked me to make the point short, how to start our new journey. What should be our future? Let's restructure our vision. Once upon a time, Singapore PM wanted to become his this one as Singapore as Kolkata. He said, if given a chance, I will make Singapore a Kolkata in 1966. But he never opened any jute mill or any paper mill in Singapore. It's nothing but today. It is nothing but a trading hub and service hub. Now, what should be our what should we do in near future if we are given a chance? Firstly, we need to have 2 parallel reforms. One, social reforms, that is there should be like Marwadis and Muslim Bengalis. We need also to have this enforcement of contract and this type of character inbuilt in our society, which is absolutely absent. But it will take some time. It's not possible overnight. But some administrative reform, some legal reform, there is one problem. Why people are selling their property and living Bengal forever? Because there is absolute lack of protection of land and property right. We need some financial reforms like community lending and all these things. And thereafter, we need to think of some 5 sectors where we need to emphasize. One is multimodal logistics hub. Number 2, manufacturing hub, that is in Rad Bengal area. Number 3, international medical hub consisting of medical, not only hospitals, but also biomedical research. There should be pharmacy, there should be biotech research and everything. And there should be a hub around one airport. It may be either Coach Bihar airport or maybe Balurghat airport. Number 4, educational hub. We know that Oxford city, that is having some educational institute only, and that is their income. We can choose North Bengal for that. And lastly, AI and innovation hub. We know for AI data center, we need use water and power. So water is available in both DVC system, Rupnarayan and all this area. And secondly, for power, we need to invest we need to think of nuclear power only. And we have no other option. We need to have solar power for our domestic and all the purposes. And for AI, this one, you know how much power is needed to control one data center. So we need to, nowadays Google and all this company, they are investing in this type of nuclear and all this company. So we need to invite nuclear power and all these things and not this Devchapachami and all. Lastly, I'll tell you, it's not that we can do everything overnight, but we can optimize our human resource, natural resource and water resource available with us to bring them in full potential and to leverage our existing advantages like strategic geographic location that Kolkata already had. That's why it was California what said once upon a time. Our existing infrastructures like road and all these things, or ports, or educational institutes. Let's endorse market economy only. We have no other option. And lastly, we need to, if we have to survive, we need to come up with the land market manipulation, money market manipulation and labor market manipulation that was done artificially for last 49 years. We need to delegate this job to someone who really understands the job, and so that it can be overseen and they can implement the program properly, as did by Telangana, Karnataka and this Tamil Nadu, or maybe in Maharashtra and Gujarat, or even nowadays in Odisha, or nowadays now for last 25 years. We need to have a better Bengal, having more wealth, with obviously a work-life balance and 100% assurance of protection of life and property for all the citizens as given in any civilized society. And lastly, I'll tell you, Kolkata must not die. If Kolkata dies, whole North India and Northeast India will face natural death. Let me tell you, if we die, whole North India and Northeast India will face natural death. Today, you know, UNICEF is blackmailing us that Northeast India is dependent on us. And if we want to become Viksit Bharat, Kolkata must be a shareholder, not a employee. Thank you.
থ্যাংক ইউ সুদীপ্ত দা। আমি দুটো কথা বলে শেষ করে দিচ্ছি। এক নম্বর হচ্ছে, এই কথাগুলো কেন গুরুত্বপূর্ণ জানেন? পরশু দিনকে অবনীন্দ্রনাথ ঠাকুরের বাড়িটা ভেঙে ফেলা হয়েছে শান্তিনিকেতনে। এটা একটা হেরিটেজ। আর একটা কথা বলি, যে আমি যেখান থেকে আসছি দার্জিলিং, সেইখানে আপনি যদি দেখেন হেরিটেজ, আমরা তো কমার্শিয়াল হেরিটেজ নিয়ে কথা বলছি, চা বাগান, টি বাংলো, আপনি ছবি দেখলেন, এইগুলো না কমার্শিয়াল হেরিটেজ, অর্থাৎ একটা হেরিটেজ যেটা কমার্শিয়াল পারপাসে আমরা এখন রেকগনাইজ করি। আপনি যদি তার ইতিহাসটা দেখেন, দেখবেন ইতিহাসটা রক্তাক্ত, শুধু নারীদের ওপর অত্যাচারের ইতিহাস। লাস্ট একটা প্রশ্ন তুলে শেষ করছি। প্রবালদা কথাটা তুলেছিলেন, আমি একটু ডিসএগ্রি করছি সুদীপ্তদার সঙ্গে। নর্থ বেঙ্গল এডুকেশন হাব নয়, আমাদের বোধহয় আবার নবদ্বীপকে তুলে আনতে হবে কালচারাল হেরিটেজের জায়গা থেকে।
আমি
Yes, yes.
বলি এই ব্যাপারটা, আমি ইন্টারন্যাশনাল এডুকেশন হাবের কথা বলছি, যেখানে ইন্টারন্যাশনাল স্টুডেন্টসরা আসবে, সেখানে টেম্পারেচারটা কম হওয়া দরকার বলে আমি নর্থ বেঙ্গলের কথা বলেছিলাম। অ্যান্ড এটা অ্যাবসলিউটলি নিউ, কোনো একটা এয়ারপোর্টকে অ্যারাউন্ড, মানে এয়ারপোর্টকে ঘিরে ব্যাপারটা করতে হবে, বোথ হেলথ এবং এডুকেশন হাবকে।
Vote of thanks. Sri Anil Dev ji, please come on stage.
Good evening, Jai Jagannath. Yes, we have come to the fag end of a very, very productive day. Since the morning, we have had series of deliberations. We have more than a dozen speakers. And I think the topics that were covered today, I think Bengal's cultural heritage, we discussed a lot besides this also. We didn't, certainly Bengal was in focus, but there was a pan-India discussion. And more so, when I came here in the morning, when I first arrived, there's something which we really remember why this today's meeting was held in a very iconic place, a very, very iconic place. The effect of holding it somewhere else would not have been there. The deliberations were started by the colonel, who is the administrator of the Asiatic Society. So two very important and iconic institutions were today involved in our, you can say, our annual day function. Yes, eminences from so many universities, once again, all, centers for excellence and very old universities. Everybody who came and deliberated here. So I'll tell you, basically, it was a very different conference. Opcharik, with just, I can just read out the names of people who deserve a special thanks, but I would say every single person, from the youngest child who was here to a very senior person who has remained throughout, they deserve a lot of thanks. We came, we spoke, but you listened. That was the biggest thing. So I'll just start with a few names. We owe our thanks basically to our media partners and people who supported us, which includes Sangam Talks, the Voice of Hindustan. They were media partners. They are the ones, who even much before this, they have been at work. And Chayanath, a cultural partner, and the school, the Barisha Jana Kalyan Vidyapit for girls. We were so happy when the teacher or the guardian who had come, she said that we are, involved with INTAC and our students win a lot of prizes and all. Very heartwarming. Most of the time when we undergo this poster competition or the quiz competition, we think it's just another show. But being involved, and I'm telling you, it's the teachers. I spoke on a very pertinent point today. Sir is here. I spoke that we have a responsibility. This heritage is not something which we inherited, which we own. We have inherited it. We are part-time custodians in our lifetime. And what is our fundamental duty? Our duty is we inherited it in one way. Our duty is to pass it on to the future generations in the manner in which we inherited it or improve on it. But what is happening is we are destroying it. Nobody has given us the right. We didn't make it. Our grandfathers didn't make it. The political parties didn't make it. Pre-independence or post-independence. These were made by people who had foresight 400, 500, 600 years ago. They were made with the intent that they will last forever. Otherwise, they would not have made these 4 feet thick walls. They wouldn't have done those foundations. They wouldn't have dragged stone blocks from 70 kilometers away. They did it. They wanted to leave. This was civilizational history. We're very sorry. The state of affairs. I told you about the figures today, what is happening. And this has to stop. But I'm sure such efforts, like the ones which we made today, and many agencies who are at work in India, the ASI, INTAC, organizations where we are sitting, all of them, if we kept together, the need of the hour today is advocacy, the need of the hour is activism, the need of the hour is creating awareness, Until all this is done and the importance of our heritage, we can thump ourselves on the back and 5,000-year-old civilization, we are Vishwagurus and this, that, and whatnot. Those are the hollow talks until serious work is not done. Yes, I will also thank Mr. Pallab Mandal for all his efforts to put this together. I know a lot of hard work must have been gone on because everything went, just tick-tock, yet in perfect time. Sir was here. I think his was the crispiest and shortest and most effective and most touching how he said that the need for encoding, and he spoke from the heart when he said that this small incident in that mutt in Ujjain, how it has affected him. And I'm sure with persons like him, when they put it to thought, something good, something very good is about to happen. Anshuman Bharti from the National Library, I hope he's around, and a lot of thanks to him. I know it's not very easy getting it here. A very fulfilling day. Honestly, we do, maybe I attend more than 7 or 8 such workshops every month. But, when you go back. I would really say that I was speaking to the press outside. And sir was here. If you would have heard from the morning, I'm sure they're recording everything. And if we can make a small monograph or a report, because what all was discussed today, even though the subject was Bengal and its cultural heritage, I didn't speak anything for Bengal heritage, I spoke on tangible, I spoke on the intangible absolute need of the hour. The final session I was telling you. So it was so informative. I knew I had read the Madison report, but that was India as a whole. But when we were made aware in the percentile figures, something is seriously wrong somewhere, need deliberation. I would say that a report should be published. I'll thank you all. In fact, I had spoken, but even the vote of thanks is an honor which I'm giving it. I'll thank everybody, each one of you had come. And I will say that we'll hold the next one in Odisha. We will partner it. I'll tell Prasunji, we'll hold the one in Odisha. We'll hold it in an iconic spot. And we'll take the journey ahead. Thank you. Thank you once again.
So let me just add on to what Anilji mentioned. So what he mentioned is we are now planning for a mega 3-day event in Bhubaneswar in the month of December, followed by a day of heritage walk of all the Kalingan temples and Baravati fort and other places and the Kalingan Maritime Museum. So we have started planning for that. Dates will be announced very soon by early March kinds, and we look forward to your participation and welcome you in Bhubaneswar. Till then, thank you.